Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities and ETFs that I follow. If you need any help with anything, check out finding-value.com. We do have a discount going on, discount for the coupon code, where I dive more into individual companies. You can see how I'm positioning in a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to give my financial opinions. We're going to go through here and see what the markets have done today. So the dollar DXY slightly lower. We're still in this channel that we've been bouncing back and forth in. To me, it does look like this could be a flag pattern that could break to the upside. But there has been some selling pressure here within this flag that does indicate that we could also try to end up going lower. But right now, big picture view, I still think that we could go higher, which is a possibility if yields continue to move on up. Now, the 2-year yield, we are back up against resistance support. It's been support all through this level here, and we punched through it, and now we're coming back up, and it's acting as resistance. Are we going to punch higher, or are we going to roll over? If we roll over, the dollar, I think, will roll over. If we see the whole yield curve drop. If we punch through and head back up, I think the dollar could potentially strengthen, the DXY at least. So again, yields, we're kind of at a decision point here, and we'll have to see which way it breaks. The 10-year yield's slightly higher, but not really a convincing move. And again, this could be a continuation pattern to the downside. So if yields do roll over, I'd expect the dollar to weaken if this were to occur, or if we kind of break to the upside. And again, we don't know which direction this is going to break yet. We'll have to find out tomorrow, and I think we'll get more data. TYX, also, again, we're kind of in this flag type pattern that has developed, and it's kind of squeezing up to some degree. We could go lower and come all the way back here, which is a possibility. Maybe the markets weaken a little bit and people run into bonds in the short term. Again, we'll have to just sit there and monitor it. In the short term, it's kind of at a pause point right now. TYX TNX ratio slightly higher, but still at a very low level. We are still inverted and just moving sideways for the most part. We've just been grinding out here. I would say generally gold does real well if this were to break out of this region and this basing pattern. How long is the basing pattern going to last? I don't know. And that's really the big question, and I don't have that answer. We based quite a long time from 2005 all the way to 2007. The yield curve inverted and then broke out of it. That's that big basing pattern before. And again, we are putting in a big basing pattern, and we'll see whenever that breaks. That will determine if we're going into a slowdown in the market or not, I think. But if it's higher for longer, we could be down here for a good while. Bond prices slightly lower. And again, is this kind of a continuation flag pattern if we break? But if that breaks to the upside, that means we would see lower yields, higher bond prices, and lower dollar. Potential weakness in the market. But again, this could just be a counter trend move in the short term where we come up here and then fall back down, which means that yields are going to go back up at some point. It could do something like that. So again, let's just watch the markets, see what they do. And again, I'm not playing this in the short term, but we do have a lot of overhead resistance here at this level in the $93.75 level, $93.75. Gold looking stronger today, up $12.8, but it's still in a downtrend and hasn't based out yet. But we're above a lot of support. So I do expect support to come into play here at any second. Silver also looking decent. We got a nice big wick on the bottom of the candle today. And, looking at some of the other metals, they look like they want to bottom too. So Again, it doesn't look bad, but we have to see follow through if this thing wants to go higher. We need to see it actually move. We do have a hammer candlestick, and we'll see if that acts as a reversal. This is the daily chart. You can see on the daily here, we can back out a little bit more. We do have a broken downtrend line, and that's what I mean by a potential reversal. Is today, towards the end of the day, we came back up, and that could be a potential reversal here. So that's what I'm looking at in the short term. Are we going to get a good bounce here or not? And that's what we have to evaluate. Platinum also getting a really good bounce. This to me looks like a really good opportunity down here. Looks very good for platinum, very cheap price. This is the reversal candlestick that I would buy, and this is probably a false breakdown and around the apex move, perhaps. It's looking good. Palladium also looking like it's trying to bottom here too. And like I said, we might get to the low 900s. We got down to about 950. Maybe that's all it's got. Maybe we start to move on up here in Palladium. But we'll monitor it together here. We've got nice good support right where it's at, and we'll see if the tail end of this monthly candlestick starts to come up with the price, giving it a false breakout with a big wick on the bottom. So I would be highly interested here, especially for platinum, because if palladium strengthens, I think platinum will strengthen too. And platinum looks really strong off this bottom if we can get this thing to slingshot to the upside. XE to gold ratio continuing to see weakness here, down 1.5%. Quite surprising how strong this is moving to the downside. We may even come back here again before making or trying to make our way higher. So that is surprising that we're seeing a lot more weakness in the gold and silver mining companies than gold itself. And gold was up today, 12.8. So again, that's what we're seeing. CRB index, we're back within the channel. Nice strong candlestick today. Looks really good. And we're back within the pattern. So that looks good, at least in the short term. CRB to S&P 500 also looking like it's trying to bottom. I think this is a very heavily weighted oil price, and oil was up today. So again, that's what it looks like in the short term, and I do think this is going to go higher over time. If you take a long enough time frame, I think this will eventually continue upward. This ratio where the commodities will outperform financial assets or the S&P 500. The GDX was down. Gold and silver mining companies, just a slight down day, but gold was up. GDXJ, same thing, slightly lower, and SILJ slightly lower. We are below a lot of resistance lines. So if we try to move on up, we're going to hit a lot of resistance. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the fact of where the resistance lines are at. If we're coming into the right market conditions, we get a slowdown in the markets, I would expect these to punch through at some point. And more than likely, people are going to start to price in stimulus or quantitative easing or lower interest rates, or however you want to say it. Crude oil up 1.9%. It looks like it's trying to put in a bottom and turn here. So that looks good, and that might be very good for a lot of the companies, at least that I follow. And this is kind of be a ABC correction here that we could try to kind of blow out of the bottom here. So it looks good, up 1.9%. TTF nat gas also looking good. It looks like it's trying to put in a bottom here and turn and continue higher. We've got good support underneath us. This is a basing pattern here, breakout, retest, and then the break and move higher, and that looks good. Natural gas in America bouncing off its support level, up 6.4% today. Again, we are above support. This is your base. We broke out, retest, broke out, retest. Maybe it does a little bit of squiggles or whatever, and if we can punch out of here, it's going to be probably a big move. XOP, yeah, you know me. Again, it looks like it's trying to put in a bottom. We'll see what the next few trading days are. You might move sideways for a little bit before heading higher, which is a possibility. And sometimes they just want to rip. Depending on what oil does and nat gas, we are still squeezing into this corner here, much like uranium did before it blew to the upside. So I expect this to be a big move to the upside. Shoulder, left shoulder, head, shoulder. It's an inverted head and shoulders. that will eventually break and move to the upside. And we are squeezing in this corner here, which is good if you're a oil and gas investor. OIH also moving up in this channel, and we've got a flag pattern basically developing, and it looks like we got a pretty good day today, and we'll see if that continues higher and the momentum continues into the next trading sessions. So that still looks good, but we're not in the clear yet. We do have some strong selling pressure all through here as we get some selling, some selling pressure, and we haven't really reversed that momentum yet. So it might take some time. Physical Uranium Trust looking very good. What's very nice here is I like how we closed here. Basically, let me throw in a little bit better line here. We've got good strong resistance there, and you can see we never closed where we're at today. So this is a 52-week high. It's probably longer than that. This goes back all the way to 07. We're starting to break out of some of these resistance levels. You can see the big move higher here. Oil's doing this right now, but uranium already broke out. This thing looks pretty strong, and I like how we closed above this resistance line. And we'll see if that momentum can continue forward into the future. URA also looking very strong. Not quite at all, the 52-week highs, but again, we've got good momentum that's building here today. We had a bearish engulfing here. We went down and we reversed it quite quickly. So this is pretty bullish. And again, what I would be doing is nothing. I just wait. There's the fractal of last bull market and the potential of that fractal in a high fly zone situation. And I think we're on our way to much higher prices for URA and URNM. URNM's looking pretty good too. Nice solid candlestick today. Finishing quite strong, and URNJ pretty strong. The juniors are also participating, which is always a good thing. So looking good there in uranium. TAN still, again, guys, it looks like it could be trying to put in a bottom here, but again, we don't have big green bullish candlesticks. Momentum still to the downside for TAN. COPX, we had some strong selling pressure. Now, I don't like seeing this type of selling pressure here. Not a huge rebound yet, so I'm not as keen to just jump into this, but we could come back to the 30 level still. We still have lots of selling pressure, and these big red candlesticks is what I mean by the selling pressure. And there's just no bounce. There's no countervailing force to push us back to the upside when looking at this. This is a good, strong, bullish move there. You can see the selling pressure really is weighing on it in the short term. Lithium up, but again, we haven't broken through that downtrend line. It looks like it might try to do something here, and we'll see if we can punch through. But again, momentum's lower. REMX, it's the same thing. We're putting in a bullish engulfing. We're going to see what momentum we can gather up here. But the momentum's to the downside, and we haven't broken the downtrend line yet. This is the first step of trying to turn and try to break through it. So we'll see if we can punch through it or not. S&P 500 down slightly. It still looks good. We're above support now. Still looks good to see if we can continue higher. NASDAQ slightly lower, but still looks good to try to punch higher here. And that is a continuation pattern that we've broken to the upside. So still looking good. KRE, KRE looks really good. We've got the downtrend line break. To me, it looks like it wants to go higher. And I know that seems opposite of everyone who thinks that regional banking is going to get smoked, but to me, this looks like an accumulation cylinder. We're really low in it. We've broken the downtrend line in the short term. We also have a double bottom here, which I think is going to move higher. So that looks good for regional banks, and I'm sure people are in disagreement, but right now, calling the tape here, we're going higher. Emerging markets also looking fantastic. We've broken out of this falling wedge to the upside. We've consolidated basically, and I think we're going to work our way higher. That also looks good. And if we get lower dollar, lower yields, that is a tailwind for emerging markets. XHB also looking just like regional banks and also very much similar to emerging markets. If we get lower yields, I do think this is going to go higher. This is basically a flag pattern or a consolidation after this big green candlestick, which is breaking out of the downtrend. Breakout, and there's your consolidation. which will eventually work its way higher. So home builders look good. I know that sounds weird. Moo just moving sideways. This could be a double bottom. It looks like we based out a little bit, came up, came back, back to its starting point. We're getting a little bit of a bullish candlestick. Again, we got to see follow through for me to get even more bullish and kind of break some of these downtrend lines that were created here, but it doesn't look too bad. Copper, surprisingly up 2.3%. This thing has been going back and forth between the buyers and the sellers, basically trying to determine a direction. Which direction is this going to go? I don't know, guys. This thing is literally bearish engulfing here. We've got some green candlesticks with good buying price action all through here. So right now, if I saw this, I'd say we're going lower. Now, looking at this kind of chart over here, it can go in either direction. We could go up if the buyers want to keep rolling here. Copper, I don't know if it knows what direction it really wants to go yet. We're still kind of squeezing in some of this stuff. You could say there's a flag pattern there, but again, we'll wait and see. I'll just say we'll wait and see which direction it goes. Iron ore looking fantastic from a longer term perspective here, breaking out of a lot of these patterns. And I think we're going to continue to go up in the longer term. This is a big pattern here. And generally, the way that you would kind of measure this is kind of a pattern that would do something like that, which is way up there. So I think it looks fantastic. Nickel, that's messed up. Aluminum, up 0.43%. Again, it's still in this channel that we've been trading sideways in. Baltic Dry Index, that is up 2.82%. I think this is going to trade with iron ore and coal, and I think it will continue higher. It's a big pattern, and the projection here would be something like that. We're going to go way up compared to where we are today. Newcastle coal futures, we're still basing out. I think there's good opportunities here. We are on top of the base here, which is always a good thing. Here's your base. We've broken out of the base, and this is your retest that we've got. Bitcoin down slightly, but Bitcoin still looks good. This is still holding together quite well. I do think that we could continue higher in Bitcoin here. It looks fantastic. And then Ethereum also looking pretty good. We're coming up to this. There's a good amount of resistance that comes across there that we are entering or encountering in this general area there. And we're just above it. So it doesn't look too bad. And I think we could potentially go higher with Ethereum and even Bitcoin. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Don't forget me a thumb up. Help me out. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you guys like this type of analysis. I don't trade the short term, guys. I'm a long term guy looking for commodity bull market, precious metals bull market coming with high rates of inflation. So that's what I'm seeing. That's what kind of where my head's at. We can get a slowdown in the short term. Yeah, definitely. Whatever. Ride through it and just keep rolling higher. But a lot of the charts are looking pretty good, and I don't know if that slowdown will come. Home builders are looking solid. Regional banks are looking solid for potential bottoming process and moving on up. And there's a lot of commodities that still look really good. So up to you on what you think the markets may or may not do. It's tough to get the short term right, but to me, it looks like a lot of these things are bottoming. And uranium looks really good. Oil could be turning here, and maybe the market surprised a lot of people. But that's what I've got for today, guys. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.